This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV, day one. CloudEXPO New York City, Javits Center, June 2017, sitting with Ben Bernstein from Twistlock. And we're going to talk about, people have been talking a lot about containers and microservices and cloud native, that sort of thing, but they're missing something. You got to secure this stuff. I think that's why you're here. What's your opinion, and why are you here, in the context of containers and microservices and security?
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks. I always forget the polite part, but yes, thank you very much for joining.
So I don't know, the way we look at the world right now, when the cloud thing started in about, I guess, 10, 15 years ago, people started asking themselves, hey, why am I buying a cow if I only need to buy milk? Mm-hmm. But in the past, I guess, 4 years or so, a lot of organizations started asking themselves, hey, why am I producing cows when I should be producing milk, right? Why am I selling people cows? I mean, I'm not a company that deals with cows, I just need to deal with milk. So suddenly a lot of companies started producing services, focusing on producing services in the cloud. And then they looked up and said, which company ever did that very well? And then they found out that it was Google, and it was Twitter, and there were a lot of companies that used to do it, and on that was very different than the way people used to produce software on a CD and install it. But that's actually a revolution that's been happening quite recently, and they call it cloud as well. But the way I like to call it, and it's sort of becoming a standard, is calling it cloud native. Yeah. So everything's built for the cloud, and some people call it GIFI, Google infrastructure for everyone else. But the main concept there is to enable developers to work fast, to have iterations of a week and not like 3 months. That also plugs into DevOps, microservices, all that stuff. And all that is really good because people are very productive. But then suddenly the developers get to the point where they realize they need to standardize the process, and security comes into the picture, and suddenly all the security practices had to do with reading a book and trying to figure out, hey, I need to do this and this and this before I deploy a new milestone. I need to check these things, and that just doesn't fit in this new world. So you have to think about automation of the process. You have to think about how you can set up a high-level policy and have it being enforced both on the developers as they're pushing new things, as well as at runtime where things need to be protected for active threats. And that's at a high level the environment which we live in and which we believe is very raw right now, and we're sort of leading the market in that, and the traditional security companies are not doing a lot in that.
Yeah, someone's tampering with my milk. They're trying to steal it after I went through all this work to figure out that's what I was selling. So, cloud enablement. I like this term cloud enablement too, I guess. What's the difference between cloud enablement? Are we enabling old things, or is it really an organizational thing? And cloud native, are they sort of the same thing, or how do you view that?
So at the end of the day, you first need to change the way you see things and what's really important for you, because the core thing about, I'll say something provocative, not that provocative, but
cloud computing is dead. No,
but I am going to say that cloud and DevOps is the same word. It's just two sides of the same coin. People, if a company has a cloud team and a DevOps team, eventually it'll become the same team. I mean, that's it. If you go to Amazon and you ask them, who made AWS the most successful thing that you did, the most successful cloud platform, you know what? I thought they would tell me IT and developers. But when you go and talk to the people there, they'll tell you that it was just developers. Developers were spearheading this, and that's sort of a mind shift, because most of the companies, they have a lot of infrastructure people, but the infrastructure people and also the security people, their roles slightly change because they need to be enablers of this, and they need to work around. They need to understand that the developers are the spearhead, and they need to work around. So I was just interviewing today, and someone asked me, are we pushing security early enough in the process? And we're trying to do it as much as possible. We're starting at the CI/CD when the developers are doing things, but you cannot push it too much into the developers because they're focused on productivity, not around security.
So Twistlock, I mean, is that the analogy? What is it you do?
Yeah, it's so it all started with everything being, around aquatic things, and so a lot of the companies in this space started with names like that. Obviously, it's sort of like a pun on the on that everyone's calling themselves lock, but Twistlock is something that locks containers. So it was sort of a play of words, but that was really it.
No, I know, but the things you can visualize, these things are good. I mean, the whole idea of containers, for example, it's like, okay, got it. The reality is a little more complex.
Of course. The real change, as I said, with containers, it's not the technology. It's about how do you deliver software. You're not using CDs. You're using continuous delivery, continuous integration, and containers and Docker has just become a very good technology to realize that. That's all. It's not about the technology, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have access to the tools. That doesn't mean you know how to use them.
That's true, and I think we're all learning how to use them. Things like orchestration, Kubernetes, that kind of stuff. It used like you tell someone Kubernetes, you get slapped. It sounds like you cursed him in like a foreign language. And I think it's originally Greek, that word, but regardless, and everything in Greek sounds very emotional.
Kubernetes.
Exactly, but now you talk to people, they actually, they actually know what it is, and we have, our customer base is obviously focused on these types of customers, and we have a lot of Fortune 100 customers that are actually using Kubernetes even. So, and that's more of a, it's not just the container, it's suddenly the orchestration. Things pop up in various places. It's very interesting, and people are using it.
All integrated in one kind of big thing. Now, if they want to find out more about what you're doing and what you bring to the table and how you can help them, at the most complex problems they have, how do they find you? On URL, Twitter?
Well, it started off when we were younger, like 2 years ago. People would just look for container security and find us in Google. This is how we got a lot of our customers. But we're seeing more and more people that actually already recognize our name. We just released NIST, right? So NIST. They used to have an external publication about how to secure virtual machines and how to secure operating system. Now they released one about how to secure containers and microservices, and we were the company that sort of helped them lead that. So our CTO was actually one of the two people that wrote that external publication. So we're very proud of that, and we get some people that get to us through our thought leadership in this space. We wrote some of Docker code ourselves, actually. So we're very plugged into the ecosystem.
Twistlock.com. Yeah, Twistlock.com. Twistlock.com. Can't beat it. Thank you very much for joining us. This is cool stuff, and there's a lot of complex things. You all know that. That's why we have people like this company to help you with this. So go ahead and contact them. Check them out in all the geek sites, because no matter how Fortune 100 you get, at heart, you're still those guys that are doing that really great technical stuff, and I love it. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckoff.